Hello, students and parents. Welcome to another edition of McFatter Technical High School Weekly Updates. I am Jeanette Johnson, your director and principal, and it is Thursday, September 10th. As usual, I have with me a couple of faces that you know and maybe a couple of faces that are new to you. So let's start by introducing who's with us today. First, we have, as always, our assistant director in charge of the high school, Mr. Daryl Harris.
Hello there.
Good morning. We have our magnet coordinator, Miss Lily DeCastro.
Hi.
We have Andrea Jackson, our Exceptional Student Learning Support Services Specialist. I think I got that right. Good morning, Ms. Jackson.
Good morning.
And we have our Brace Advisor, Ms. Bridget Lynn.
Good morning.
Welcome to all of you. So let's dive right in. We want to get through some information. We don't think this week's message will be quite as long as last week's was, but we do have some important information to share with you. The first thing I wanted to do is give a reminder to all of our parents. We need you to be submitting your back to school forms. You need to not only do the form online, but then you also need to do the confirmation sheet. So far, we've only had about a third of our families do the confirmation form and literally fewer than a dozen do the confirmation sheet. And we need you to do both of those things. So if you would, please try to get that taken care of within the next week. We'd really appreciate that. I also wanted to mention, you may have seen in the news some reports about conversations starting to happen about return to school. No definite decision has been made, of course, but the conversations are starting to ramp up as conditions in our community appear to be getting better. There's going to be an important school board workshop on September 22nd, where there will be discussions around the possible reopening and return to physical campus. You might keep an eye on that board workshop if you're available. If not, we'll of course update you with whatever's determined. You'll have plenty of notice. The school board has committed to giving all schools and families at least 2 weeks notice before physical return to campus happens. And obviously a lot more detail will come, and it'll start with that school board meeting. So we encourage you, if you're available, to watch that school board workshop on September 22nd. September is Suicide Prevention Month. It's important to us every year. This year, we know our students are facing additional challenges, additional concerns, and it's got everyone stressed out. We wanted to talk about some of the resources that are available to students, and for that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Harris.
Thank you. And I just wanted to highlight that our psychological services department recognizes that the events over the past 6 months have impacted all of us in substantial ways. And we understand that our students and our families have endured heightened stress, uncertainty, and in some ways even trauma. So what the district has put out are some important resources to help all of us get through these difficult times. And they've set up several links, and we're going to post this on our school website so you can have access to this. But there'll be many resources to help all of you as parents talk with your students about COVID-19, emotional awareness, coping skills, creating healthy routines, connecting with others, and positive thinking. So these are some awesome resources that I'm going to even use for myself because I've had stress as well. So, but these are for all of us to take advantage of, and they'll be posted on our website with links and also resources and even a parent guide for you to use to help you get through this here as well as your students. So please take advantage of these resources.
Thank you. And I know we want our families and our students also to feel very comfortable coming to any of our staff members if they have questions or concerns, any staff members they might be comfortable with. But in addition to their teachers, who are the specific staff members that have some expertise in mental health counseling, suicide prevention support that our students and families could refer to if they want that additional level of support?
Okay, and we do have Mr. Alvin Ramsey. He's one of our specialists on our campus, and also Kara Fort, and she's our school social worker. So those are two individuals. That's Alvin, A-L-V-I-N, R-A-N-Z-Y, Alvin Ramsey, and then Kara Fort. That's K-A-R-R-A-H. F-O-R-T. She's our school social worker. So they have some unique sets of skills and resources to help our families, our students get through difficult times that we're all experiencing. So please take advantage of those. If you have any questions and you forget those names, you can always call our school, call the front desk at 754-321-5700, and we'll make sure that we get you in contact with those individuals to get the resources or help that you may need. So please take advantage.
Thank you. It's so important. There are so many resources. There's no reason for anyone to struggle alone. So we definitely want to encourage our families and our students to reach out if they need some additional support or just be pointed in some direction of some resources. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
September also means that we are, believe it or not, rapidly coming up on the middle of the term. So we have an update for you regarding interims. And for that, I'll turn it over to Ms. DeCastro.
Hi, everybody. So the school calendar that is posted on the Broward County Public Schools website shows that tomorrow is interim report day. What we've learned is that is indeed an error. Tomorrow's the teacher's day to submit those updates for the interims. Parents and students will be able to see the interim reports through virtual counselor next week on September 15th. So they will be posted for the next few weeks. So anytime after September 15th, you can go into virtual counselor and the same place that you found the student schedule where you see attendance, that's where you will find the interim report once it's posted. And if you find that you have any questions or concerns after you receive that information or before, you can reach out to the student's counselor and they can help you with any concerns, maybe setting up a conference, whatever you need.
Is the counselor also the point of contact if they have trouble getting into or accessing virtual counselor, or is there someone else they should contact?
If you have an issue, it is actually, you go in through the same way you go into school every day through single sign-on. If for some reason when you log in there, there is an option to reset a password. If then you are stuck, then they can reach out to the counselor, definitely.
Great, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And then joining us to tell you a little bit about who they are and what they do in terms of providing support and additional services to our students, we have Ms. Jackson and Ms. Lynn. So we'll start, Ms. Jackson, please introduce yourself and let our families know the work that you do in support of our students and their families.
Good morning. I'm Ms. Jackson. I'm the Exceptional Student Learning Support Specialist, formerly known as the ESE Specialist. I work to service students with exceptionalities that include students with disabilities and gifted students. I provide classroom accommodations and ensure that they have a plan to be successful in the school environment.
Now, when we talk about students who need additional support services to be as successful as they can be in this environment, or students who need additional challenge because of, for example, perhaps a gifted student, I want to clarify because this is a unique environment we're working in. And so we may have students who are struggling because of the remote learning, but not for other reasons. In other words, they may struggle with the remote environment. They don't know how to structure their day, discipline themselves to stay on track. Those aren't the types of struggles that are specifically associated with the services that you provide, correct?
No, you're absolutely correct. No, those aren't the services that I provide and our department provides. Those concerns would be better directed to the student's guidance counselor, and then that way they can work to develop some unique plans for them. My services focus more on students with disabilities and getting students that already have gifted plans additional support inside their classes.
So it is possible that a student who is not currently on an ESE plan, they don't have a documented disability or a documented gifted status, they may wind up there, but it sounds like they would first start with the counselor if there are challenges that need to be addressed, and then they would start at that point, and then it would refer to you if the counselor support was not sufficient. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yes.
Great, thank you so much. And how do families get a hold of you if they need to reach out to you?
You can reach me by email is the best way. My email is Andrea, ANDREA, Jackson, JACKSON at Broward Schools, don't forget the S at the end, .com.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then we have with us our brace advisor, Miss Lynn. Good morning, Miss Lynn. Could you tell a little bit about what it is that you do in support of our students and our families?
Absolutely. So for those of you who are not familiar with the term brace advisor, it stands for Broward Advisor for Continuing Education. And my sole job is to help your students plan for after high school. The majority of McFatter students do tend to go the college route, but I could also help with military or different things like that as well. One of the best resources that families have, students and families have, to plan for after high school is the Naviance website. That is my way to interact with students and parents. I send out emails and updates through that. That's where I have my college visits. Right now I have 13 college visits scheduled, virtual visits, obviously. And one of the keys there is the student should go into Naviance and list the schools that they're thinking about. And when they list that as a college schedules a meeting, that student will get notifications saying, hey, did you know University of Florida is having a visit? Do you want to sign up for it? So that will be just our school visits. And also if the University of Florida or another school that they're interested in has maybe a Broward County meeting, they can get notification through Naviance with that. So I highly recommend the students use Naviance by enlist their schools they're thinking about and also update their email. Parents' email address are generated through those back to school forms. So I also highly recommend that the parents fill out those back to school forms listing their email so that they will be getting the emails or information from me that way. Naviance also is a wonderful resource for scholarships. So students can be looking in there. Some things to think about. I always tell students that they should be applying to school by September 15th. I don't want to stress anybody out. It's a good goal date. Right now, what students should be doing is researching the colleges and knowing the deadlines that each of the colleges have for their applications or for their scholarships. And try and get the applications out sooner rather than later. I know one of the stumbling blocks for our students is testing the SAT and the ACT. So I highly recommend that the students try to register for a test. And most of the colleges know the struggle that we're having with testing sites being open or not open, and they're lenient. So the question on the application usually reads, when have you tested or when do you intend to test? So colleges know to look for those new test scores. So don't get hung up with that. Still finish your college application process, even if you haven't had the opportunity to test. If students qualify for fee waivers, like if you qualify for free and reduced lunch, I highly recommend it. Everybody apply for free and reduced lunch, see if you qualify. And if you do, then I can give students fee waivers to take the SAT and the ACT. They can also get college application waivers with that. So it's highly recommended. On that form, there's a question that asks, do you give the school permission to have access to your qualifications so that I can hand out those fee waivers? So you have to check that off, or the families need to notify me that they qualify by sharing their confirmation letter with me. I also work with students with financial aid. I will tell you when it's time to complete the FAFSA, which is really October 1st that comes out. I will tell you when Bright Futures applications come out. Keep you as informed as possible. One update on Bright Futures that I'd like to point out is the Florida Medallion Scholar, which is traditionally, I refer to it as the middle award, is now paying 100% tuition for students who go to state college first. So they'll pay 100% for those first 2 years, and then they'll pay 75% of the four-year university. So that might change students' minds and whether they want to go to university directly or not. Other than that, I think I covered everything, and just let you know that I'm here for any families to help them out any way that I can.
So I want to do a couple of follow-up questions. A lot of what you talked about, obviously, application dates for colleges, applying for financial aid, that's obviously directed at our seniors and their families.
Correct.
But it's not just the seniors that you're working with, or that some of this information you just gave matters. So for example, college visits, are those seniors only, or can students in younger grades go to college visits?
When we're on campus, I always say juniors and seniors, and I think that that's the way it's set up still with the virtual visits, juniors and seniors, because they can't have too many students in any one visit.
So juniors should still take note of what you said about college visits, about listing their college interests in Naviance. And all grade levels should be concerned, for example, about accessing the free and reduced lunch resources, the potential fee waiver for testing, because some of that testing starts as early as 10th grade, correct?
Correct.
Talk a little bit, you also do something, we call it our post-secondary planning conferences with families. Tell a little bit about that and why it's so important that we make that service available to families that want it.
Absolutely. One of the things that we're very proud of is that we usually, except for COVID times, we usually meet one-on-one with every family and have about an hour-long conversation. It starts off with is your child on track for graduation? And then it leads to what do they want to do after high school? How do they apply? When do they apply? And how do they find money for it? That's the gist of the conversation. It goes for 45 minutes to an hour. With COVID interrupting some of those post-secondary conferences, I'm trying to make up for that in a few different ways. One, Ms. Bluth and I are planning on having some meetings that we can record. I've already done a couple recorded post-secondary conferences, but we'll do live and record it so families can hear what I go over in that. I've also opened up a bookings app that the families can contact me if they want just a quick question answered. They can schedule an appointment with me. I have those in 25-minute intervals, but I also have post-secondary conference intervals as well. Those are an hour long. The post-secondary conferences need to be either before school or after school because we don't want to interrupt school time. There's a slight possibility that maybe with a teacher's permission, we could do something else, but we really need to focus on the before school or after school on select days.
And you mentioned that the way to request those is something called the bookings app. Can you explain how people get a hold of you if they want to tap into one of these opportunities to meet with you?
So it's a special URL that you click on and they can see what times that I have available. I've put it out in the weekly email. I believe Mr. Castro was going to include it maybe on our webpage as well, so they could find it that way. They could email me and then I can forward them the URL as well. If it's a quick question, email is great. If they want to sit down and have a conversation, then the bookings would be the best way to go.
And what's your email address?
It's my name, Bridget Lynn at browardschools.com, and it's spelled BRIGITTE LYNN at browardschools, again with the S.com.
Great, thank you. And I just want to reiterate what Ms. Lynn said. One of the things we are proud of as a school is, given our size and given our staff availability, there is no reason for any student and their family to have to muddle their way through post-secondary planning if they're not sure how to do it. That is what Ms. Lynn's job is. She is here in addition to your counselors to provide you support through that process, because if you've never been through it before, it can be pretty intimidating. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Several of us smiled. We know sometimes I lose my lights in here and sometimes they stay on. This time I lost them, but we're almost done. Today we have our first school advisory council meeting, our first SAC meeting, first of 6. Mr. Harris, I know that we have most of our SAC positions filled, but we do have a few more parent SAC positions we were hoping to get volunteers for. What can you tell us about that?
Yes. First of all, I want to say thanks to those parents that have already volunteered to participate in SAC. So it seems like we're going to have a great group to help us put together and implement the great plans that we're putting together for our students for this upcoming school year. We are looking for a few still, and those are our iZone parent, and that's our innovation zone, a 10th and 11th grade parent, a parent of one of our gifted and our ESE students, a PTSA parent, and also SAF, and that's, once again, that stands for School Advisory Forum. So it's still not too late. I'm looking forward to your emails, and I mentioned that earlier, my email address, but you can still get involved. And although the first meeting is today, if you don't make the meeting today, we'll definitely make sure you're at the next one. So it's not too late to get involved, and we really appreciate you. I can't emphasize that enough of how important that you are to what we do here at McFatter.
Absolutely. We find that the parent participation on SAC provides a two-way communication. Parents are able to give us input on how things are going with the school, and they walk away. Our parents who participate in SAC tell us that they walk away from the meetings feeling so much more informed as well. So we really do encourage it. It is only 6 times a year for about an hour to an hour and a half max each time. So if you're at all interested, or even if you're not sure, just reach out to Mr. Harris and let him know, and he can answer any questions. We'd love to have you. I think that's everything. Did we miss anything that we mentioned we wanted to talk about?
I think so.
No? Okay. Let there be light. What that means, for those of you who don't know, is just outside my office is the sensor. So when somebody moves outside my office, the lights come back on. So somebody out there obviously is moving around, which means I need to get ready to put my mask back on. So we will wrap things up. Hope everyone had a great week and has a nice weekend, and we will see you next Thursday. Take care, everybody.
Take care.